Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl, the SkkyZone. Let me step back so won't nobody think I'm on here, inappropriate. Okay, because I'm definitely not. I have on clothes. uh, I am here today for the part 6 of the reading of Soulacoaster, the story of RKelly, the diary of RKelly. This chapter here is called MJ. When I was left off, I talked about him working with Janet Jackson, okay, and how he did the remix of some of her songs on her album. I want to, before I begin, send a warm words, send my condolences out to Latoya. Latoya, you told me the passing of your mom. I just want you to know I'm sorry to hear that. Uh, Condolences to you and your family, from my family to yours. Um, Time is a great healer. I'm here for you if you ever, need to speak, talk, or whatever. Just cry, just want me to hold the phone, whatever. I understand. I do. Time is a great healer. That's that. There's no walk like the walk of walking to uh, the casket of mom. Anyone out there who has a great relationship with your mother, you know that's a God. You're God-like, in the flesh. So I understand. I do. All right, guys. Well, let's begin. This chapter here is called MJ. Okay, MJ, you are not alone. As a kid, I watched a lot of TV and loved much of what I saw. TV was my window into the worlds outside of our little home. Cartoons were wonderful. They were crazy and funny. Sometimes I pictured myself jumping into the cartoons and running after the characters, but I never thought the characters were real. Take Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was the superstar of cartoon characters. Donald Duck was cool, and so was Goofy. I dug the Road Runner and Porky Pig, whose stutter reminded me of Uncle Doug. Mickey, though, he was the boss. Mickey ruled the TV screen. Oh, Mickey me. But I knew he was just make believe. Well, in a funny kind of way, I thought of Michael Jackson the same way. Okay? When the Jackson 5 popped into our lives, we loved them to death. We loved Michael and Jermaine and Jackie and Tito and Marlon. We knew one from the other. We couldn't wait for them to come on TV and sing their songs after school, like A, B, C. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. The A, B, C. Just you and me, babe. They were as cool as cartoon characters. They was beyond human. And they was black like us. Now we was happy to see us on TV. But we've been told the fairy tale myth of how Diana Ross had discovered them, but later I found out that wasn't true. But as a kid, I believed the myth. You ain't the only one, okay? We heard that line ass shit too. We heard that shit too. Okay? Remember on the Ed Sullivan show? When the Jackson 5 were set to appear on the American Bandstand or the Ed Sullivan show, we got to the TV a half an hour early so we wouldn't miss a single moment or a single minute of this here. And honey, Rob, I know exactly what you're talking about, because guess what? We did the same goddamn thing on my goddamn block, okay? We could not freaking wait. And don't let them fuck around and pop out little Penny. Don't let little Janet come out there and do it her. Hey, big boy. Don't let her come pluffing around throwing that dog on Shaw. Oh, MG. Man, they knew what they was doing when they had little Janet pop out. That was like an appetizer. You know what I'm saying? You was like, dang, I wanted Janet gonna be on there tonight. I wonder they gonna show Janet. Man, Yeah, I remember these days too. I was still a little kid, about 4 or 5, when a Jackson actually became a cartoon show where the brothers were animated like Mickey Mouse. That's close. That closed the deal right there. They really weren't real. Michael was really Mickey Mouse. When Miss McLean came along and said that one day I'll be writing for Michael Jackson, I didn't believe her. And then when Mom died and I leaned on Miss McLean even more, she kept saying the same thing. You're more than just an artist, Rob. You're a writer who writes songs, and your songs will be sung by the biggest artists in the world. Man, I had been going through some personal struggles. It seemed like everywhere I turned, I was losing people. Just before we were about to leave on the big 10-week 12-play tour, the buses were gassed up, the equipment was loaded, and I was sitting there waiting for my boys. The guys from Public Announcement who still sang, they still sang Back Up and they danced and everything and they was on the shows and in videos. I was waiting for them to show up, but they never did. Left me hanging, okay? But all of my set routines with the guys, I had to change the show. At the last minute, I had to change, make necessary movements and adjustments and everything. To my surprise, the fans, they ain't even miss it. They ain't even miss Public Announcement. They yelled and screamed even louder. The tour was a huge hit. Michael was on my mind when the 12-play tour came to an end because we was in Gary, Indiana, my hometown, Michael's hometown. I was thinking about my mother and how we used to go. We would go to Gary and we would go there to see my grandfather. We would sit on the porch. He would be playing his guitar and my mother would be there and they would be there singing and everything. So at the end of the tour, I got to thinking about all of that. Boom. When the thoughts of Michael and my mother came together, suddenly a melody just came into my mind. The melody just kept on continuing to haunt me after my mother's death. After my mom died, I lost another person very dear to me, whom I loved them with all my heart and soul. I wanted to let this person know that I will always be with her and I will always be there, even though we couldn't be together. So this time, when I heard the melody, the notes were carrying words. The words were clear. They said, "You are not alone." I got this feeling in my gut. Goosebumps set chills up and down my arms. I ran first to the piano. Okay, I ran to the first piano I could find and started playing the melody and singing the words. You are not alone. It was my mother talking to me. It was reaching out in a comparable loved one and letting her know that although we're apart, I would always be there for her. The further I developed the song, the more I sounded like Michael. I heard his inflections felt in my spirit. I knew this was the right song for Michael Jackson. Once I got to Chicago, I went to the studio and I put a demo down. By then, the story was clear. Another day has gone. I'm so all alone. How could this be? You're not here with me. Never said goodbye. Someone tell me why. Did you have to go and leave my world so cold? Every day I sit and ask myself how. Did your love slip away? Some whispers in my ears and say that you are not alone. I am here with you. Though you're far away, I am here to stay. Just the other day, I thought I heard you cry, asking me to come and hold you in my arms. can hear your prayers. Your burdens I will bear. But first I need your hand. Then forever can begin. That you are not alone. When I sang on the demo, I purposely captured Michael's style, even capturing the tones of his voice. That was easy since I had been listening to Michael my entire life. Bad. I loved rather how Quincy Jones had produced Michael's Off the Wall. I loved Thriller and Bad. I knew Teddy Riley had produced, or co-produced rather, Dangerous. And I really wanted to be in that company. I wanted to be in the company of those who work with Michael. I had my manager send him the song. A day passed. My manager called. He wants to do it. He wants to do it, he said. Michael wants to do it. I repeated, you sure? His people called. They loved the song. That's fantastic. That's amazing. I started shouting out the good news. Oh my God, Michael gonna do this song with me. My manager said, but there's one thing, Rob. I said, what's that? He wants half of the publishing. Half of the publishing? The publishing represents an ownership of the song. Much as I love Michael and much as I understood that business is business, I believe that given success of 12 Play, I had earned the right to keep all my publishing and retain all my ownership. Tell his people, I said that no disrespect, but I don't want to do that. It would be a dream of my life to have Michael sing that song, but it's a song that I need to own. You sure? You sure, Rob? You sure you want to take this chance? I'm sure, I said. If Michael really loves the song as much as I think he does, he'll sing it anyway. He'll realize he was born to sing it. My manager conveyed my position to Michael's manager. One day had passed, then another, then still another. Man, I was nervous. I was thinking about nothing except whether Michael Jackson was going to sing my song. Then one day, finally, the phone rang. My manager was on the line. Well, what? He said, teasing me. He's going to sing it. Hell yeah. Hey, hell yeah, he gonna sing it. Thank you, Jesus, I yelled. Yes, he gonna sing it. Not only is he gonna sing it, he's coming to Chicago so you can show him how to sing it. When? Next week. You're kidding, man, what? Next week? Shut the fuck up. I never kid about something that's important, Rob. Not when it comes to you, producer Michael Jackson, said his manager. Me, producing Michael Jackson. He was going to sing, You Are Not Alone. Man, those words just kept running through my mind. I still couldn't believe it. What better way to send a radio message than through the king of pop himself? Man, I immediately got nervous and started to freak out a little bit. It was all coming true. Everything Miss McLean had done told me, everything my mother had done told me, everything was coming to fruition. It was all coming true. Michael Jackson was really getting on a plane and flying to Chicago for the express purpose of being produced by me in the studio of my choice. My choice was CRC Studios, just off Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. I knew it like the back of my hand. My engineers were the best. The atmosphere was cool. I knew Michael would be comfortable and we could ensure his private space. Wherever Michael Jackson went, though, The world knew about it. It was like there was some type of secret agents putting the word out. So days before he landed in Chicago, the city knew he was coming. There were mentions in the newspaper and on TV. The whole town was wired for his arrival. I was wired and I couldn't wait. The day finally came. I got to the studio 2 hours early. I was so damn excited. I ordered my favorite Chinese food. I was sure to include some vegetarian dishes for Michael because I know his ass don't eat meat. I was so goddamn nervous that I started practicing in front of the food. Hey, Mike, would you like some of this Chinese food? Or, Mike, you want some of this, man? Or, maybe I just say, hey, man, are you in the mood for some Chinese food? Michael, whatever you want, you're welcome to it, man. I was in the middle of all this when the studio phone rang. The engineer answered. All I heard him say was, okay, what's up, man? What's up? Oh, the talent has landed and he's 30 minutes away. Michael's people had specified that they only wanted me and the engineers present during the session. My manager, though, had showed up like everyone else. He wanted to meet Michael, too. The phone rang again. The talent was 20 minutes away. I went back to rehearsing how to offer Mike the Chinese food. Hey, man, you want some Chinese food? What you want to do, man? Oops. Hey, man, you want a little bit? Then another call came. The talent is 10 minutes away. Man, I went to the bathroom to wash my hands super clean. I knew Michael didn't like dirt. You know what I'm saying? He was a neat freak. He was a clean freak, okay? He didn't eat meat. That's why I had chose those vegetarian meals. I had them prepared already. You know what I'm saying? Hospitality. The talent has arrived, the engineer announced. 3 minutes later, his security guys appeared. They made sure they knew who he was. They made sure the route was they made sure that the route from the car to the studio was clear. Okay? Hey. Everybody on point, everybody cool. Bad. Come on, get Mike. Okay, Mike. Next, we heard the talent was in the building. Michael here now. The next thing I knew, Michael Jackson was walking through the door. Michael was real. He looked at least 8 feet tall. He looked like a goddamn avatar. He was wearing a black mask over his face. Only his eyes were showing. My manager was the first to make a move. He went over to hug him. Michael stopped the hug and offered his hand instead. He didn't heard about Barry's ass. Then my manager introduced him to my engineers. Michael shook their hands. Finally, Mike walked over to me. He looked in my eyes, opened his arms, and gave me the hug of my life, whispering to me in his light, then air, soft, high voice, "The world's gonna be singing this song. The world's gonna be singing this song, Robert." I blurted out something silly like, "Congratulations on everything you've done, Mike. Congratulations on being Michael Jackson." Just about then, Bubbles the chipmunk, you know his little chip, pranced into the room. In my mind, I called Bubbles trouble. The chimp made me nervous, okay? Period. Fuck that. I'm not, I don't run no animal kingdom, you know what I'm saying? He's friendly, isn't he, Mike? Ain't he friendly, man? Hey, what's going on with the chip? Oh, yes, he's not going to hurt you. Anyway, I said, I'm just glad you like the song. I don't like it, Rob. I love it. I don't want to change one thing. I want to sing it just the way you wrote it. You've captured me beautifully. That's the reason why I came here. We can get started as soon as I do my vocal warm-ups. If you excuse me for a minute, I said, I'll be right back. That's Robert saying that, not Michael. I'm sorry. Shit. I'm thinking about that damn shit, that damn monk being up in that room. Oh, God, man, this man is silly. I walked to the bathroom and just fell out on the floor. I broke down and cried. It wasn't that Michael Jackson was singing my song. It was that Michael Jackson had felt how it was that Michael had felt how I caught his spirit. Michael Jackson had came to Chicago to work with me. Me. The guy who they laughed at, who couldn't read, the guy who they put down and said I wasn't gonna be nothing, the guys that the ladies wouldn't give me no play. Me. That guy. Michael wanted to work with me. Miss McLean prophecy was coming into fruition. It was that had him down on his knees and made him so emotional at that final hour. When I got back to the studio, I heard screeching. I thought it was Bubbles throwing a fit, but it was Michael doing his warm-up, his vocal warm-ups. He was screaming like a wild animal. Man, I thought this was a strange way to work up. But hey, he's Michael Jackson, the biggest star in the world. And if that's how he got to warm up, it's cool with me. Before we start, Rob, would you mind talking to my vocal coach in LA? He has something he wants to ask you. No problem, Mike. When we reached him, the coach said, hey, yeah, Mr. Kelly, Michael just wanted to ask me if it would be okay if you only did the first verse today. You can start doing the chorus tomorrow. That will help Michael conserve his voice. Sure thing. I said, man, hey, yeah, Michael, Michael's, he's we can do it just like that, okay? He asked that I speak with you, and I said it was okay, and Michael, fine, that's fine with me. Thanks for understanding, Rob said. Oh, no. Thanks for understanding, Rob. I hope this won't mess up your flow. I flow with you, Mike. Anything you want, man. Whatever. It's you and me, man. For the next few hours, we worked the verse with Michael trying as hard as he could to be true to my demo. It's better than a demo, I kept telling him, way better. Next day, of course, I was less nervous. I knew the chorus was a killer, and Michael would nail it in no time. When he started singing, though, he immediately felt the need for background vocals. Rob, he said in that high singing sound voice, would you mind coming in here and singing background with me? Mine? Are you kidding? Michael Jackson was asking me to sing with him. That's what he was thinking in his mind. I had to practically stop myself from running into the vocal booth. I paced myself so I could walk slowly, but in my heart, I felt like a little girl. When we started singing, the blend was perfect. We were butter and toast. He did the same thing he did the same rocking motion I seen him do in the We Are the World song, sitting there next to me. My voice over his voice over mine. I tasted heaven on earth. Brother, this is good as it gets. Rob, he said later that afternoon, sometimes it can take me a month to get a song where I want it. Me too, Mike, I agree. Me too. Sometimes it take me more than a month, man. I'm glad you understand. You'll be patient with me, won't you? Hey, man, listen, I'll be whatever you want me to be, Mike. It's still a dream for me, man. I'm still, what I'm saying, I can't even believe it. I'm flabbergasted, man. Can I ask you something else? Sure, man, go ahead. Is there a mall around here, Rob? Just a couple of blocks away, man. Would you go there with me? I love malls. Hey, man, I love them too, Mike. Let's roll. With Bubbles and the security team in place, we went to Water Tower Place, one of the nicest malls in Chicago. Michael headed straight for the Disney store, where he was fascinated by a larger-than-life statue of Donald Duck that hung above the entrance. That's beautiful, said Mike. Do you think they'll sell it to me? I love to have Donald Duck for Neverland. Couldn't hurt to ask, I said. Of course, Michael Jackson walking into the Disney store caused a near riot. When the manager appeared, Michael couldn't have been sweeter. Is there any way I could buy that Donald Duck? He asked. I'm afraid not, Mr. Jackson. It's permanently built into the front of the store. Oh, that's a shame, said Mike politely. But thank you anyway, sir. I never met anyone with better manners. We spent the next 3 weeks they was together, hanging out, okay? Performing the song. As far as the production went, Mike let me take the lead. Of course, he had ideas for instrumental touches of his own, and they were all great. We never had a single disagreement. After the sessions, he hung out around the studio to talk. He was very interested in my remix methods. He loved the remix on Your Body's Calling and wanted to know how I done it. When I explained that I worked it by instinct, he completely understood. The expertise of working with Mike was drama free. Every night after he left the studio and I got in his van, people were hanging out the windows of office buildings and hotels, stretching their necks to get a glimpse of him. He'd always stop and wave. When the job was done and it was time for him to leave to go to Chicago, he gave me another hug and said, "You're my brother." I was so choked up, I couldn't say anything. When You Are Not Alone dropped as the single off Mike's History album, it made the Guinness World Records book as the first song to debut #1 on the Billboard Top 100 chart. It was #1 in the UK as well as in France, New Zealand, Spain, Switzerland, and Japan. Mike was right. They were singing it all over the world. And when the video came out featuring Michael and Lisa Marie Presley, his wife at the time, I loved it for being original. It got everyone talking. Unfortunately, though, the credits on the record listed Michael as a co-writer on the song. Naturally, that got me a little upset, okay? But the minute I put a call in to Mike, because you know I got on that phone and called, I already made it clear that I wanted all my credits now. We wasn't doing this deal. He got right back to me. "I'm so sorry," he said. "My people are so used to me co-writing everything, they presumed I'd done this as well. But mark my words, Rob, this mistake will be taken care of immediately." And it was. It would be some years before Michael cut another song of mine. One More Chance, that was the song. It's called One More Chance, for his #1's composition album, a compilations album. Before that, he invited me to LA to his studio just as a guest. I wound up singing on that session and having a ball. We'd talk every 3 months or so. He'd tell me of what's happening in his life, and I'll tell him about what's happening in mine. Michael Jackson died on June 25th, 2009. News of his death was like a hatchet to my chest. He meant to me what breathing means to most people. He was not only my brother and friend, he was also my mentor. I'm honored and blessed to have been in Michael's presence. I got to know him like most of the world never will, on a person-to-person, soul-to-soul level. I broke down and cried like a newborn baby when I saw a YouTube video of Michael Jackson dancing to the Ignition remix in the backseat of his friend's car. And if anybody ever went to any of RKelly shows, and he would show that tribute. When he did his tribute, he would do his tributes to Michael Jackson. He would show that clipping, and man, it was just phenomenal just to see. You could tell they had a natural respect for one another, and they did have a brother relationship. You could tell it was a mentor relationship, but you can also tell they was kicking it. Them 3 weeks that Michael was down there, you could tell they was hanging, and you could tell it wasn't fake. It was real. Excuse me. I mean, he was jamming, and he was jamming. If you get a chance to see that clip, he was jamming. I might try to tag it in this video. You could tell he was fully into it and feeling it. I was like, wow, he's doing my music. He's singing to my music. I've been in this business for over 20 years. I've written songs that have sold around the world and won all kinds of awards. But it wasn't until I saw the great Michael Jackson busting his familiar moves to my song that it all became official. Kellz is here, baby, for real. In the late 2009, I used part of that video in a tribute to Michael as part of my tour. See, there it is, divine prophecy right there. The YouTube video sequenced into a montage of his performances and personal videos. After it played, I walked out on stage and sang words that came to me after his death. Don't say goodbye to me. There is no need to. Don't say goodbye to me because I'm still here with you. Don't say goodbye to me. Don't shed a tear because I am still here. Go light a candle and say a prayer. Scream out victory because love is still there. Wow. Latoya, I felt your spirit, honey, and that right there is confirmation. If you see this video, this is confirmation what I emailed you in your about your mom. Take them words and let this video be a dedication to you, my dear sister. As I close, he says, the tribute was a way of keeping Mike with me, with all of us. Really, I refused to let him go, and I was determined not to let him die. Baby, that's the same way I feel, okay, about you, Mr. Kelly. Because he was superhuman, I was sure that Mike would live forever. Guys, it's your girl, the SkkyZone. I'm just going to leave this one here as MJ. It's just appropriate. It would do a disservice for me to read another chapter. Guys, it's your girl, the SkkyZone. Peace.